Hey everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new DC Comics Designer Series 7-inch scale Lee Bermejo Batman figure from DC Collectibles. Now this figure comes packaged in the same style packaging we've been seeing with all these Designer Series figures. You've got the window box, the figure's clearly displayed. Off to the side, you've got the name of the character. Down below, you've got the Designer Series logo and the name of the artist. On the side of the packaging, you have some artwork from the artist, and then on the back of the packaging, you have a look at the figure and some additional artwork. And then down below, it tells us that the figure was sculpted by Eric Sosa. All right, let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside the packaging along with the other contents. The figure comes with two different pairs of hands. You get a pair of closed-fisted hands, which are attached to the figure when you first take it out of the packaging, and then you get a pair of open grip hands. Switching out the hands is easy. You just pull off the hand you want to replace. You've got the little peg on the hand and the hole on the arm, and then you just plug in the hand you want to replace it with, and it fits in nice and tight. The figure also comes with a batarang, and this is a pretty wide-looking batarang. Almost kind of reminds me of the batarangs you would see in the old '66 Batman TV series, the ones that they would use with their ropes to climb up the buildings and stuff. So it's very wide. It is done with a thin piece of plastic. I do like the sculpting with the line work and everything. And from what I can tell, it seems to be pretty accurate to the artwork it's based on. And it's pretty pointy at the tips of the wings. And as long as you have the grip hand in, he'll hold it pretty good. You can have him hold it just normally in his hand like that. Or you can kind of stick it in between the fingers of the hand. And he'll hold it like that as well. And he holds it pretty tight. So for the figure itself, I think they've done a pretty good job of capturing the look from the artist. I can't say I'm terribly familiar with this particular artist's work. I had to actually go online and take a look. I have not read any of the comics with his artwork, so I'm not an expert on it. But from what I can tell, it seems to be pretty accurate. Now, I can't say honestly that I'm a huge fan of the overall look. I think with all the wrinkles on the face and everything, Batman kind of looks like an old man with the mask. Now, again, that seems to be in keeping with how the artist would draw him, so I'm not complaining about the figure. It's just personally, I'm not a huge fan of this look for Batman. I do think the look of the cape is kind of interesting. It's basically all one piece. In fact, if you pop the head off, you could remove the cape. It just fits around the neck and everything, so it's not actually attached to the figure, which is kind of interesting. I do like the kind of wash effect on the cape, so it's black, but then you've got this lighter kind of wash effect. It's very wrinkly looking. It looks like it's been crumpled up on the floor or something for a while, so that's kind of interesting. And again, not sure I'm a fan of that look, but also, again, it seems to be in keeping with what we see in the comic book for the artwork. I do like the sculpting on the torso section. I think that looks good. And the belt, the utility belt, has some nice sculpting detail. Paint applications overall are solid on the figure. So again, it's basically just black and gray, but I do like the kind of wash effect to give it kind of a worn look, which I think looks pretty good. The boots, I like that. I think they've done a good job with that. Looks like leather. So nice sculpting detail and paint applications with that. The belt buckles are a lighter kind of silver color. I shouldn't say lighter, a dark silver color, but they're not just black like the boots. So that's nice. And he's got the buckle on the front of the boots. So again, kind of an interesting look for the character, and I can't say I'm a huge fan of it personally, but I do think the figure itself captures the look of Lee's artwork. So the figure stands, if you count to the tip of his ears, just a little bit over 7 inches tall, not quite 7 1/4. And here's a comparison with the DC Collectibles Designer Series Greg Capullo Batman and the J. Lee Batman. Articulation is somewhat limited on this figure. You can turn the head to the left and to the right, and you can hear it's pretty tight there. There's really not much in the way of back and forth movement, a little bit, but not too much, and you really can't pivot the head too much, maybe a little bit to the left and to the right. Arms are attached with a standard ball hinge joint. However, because the cape basically completely covers the shoulders, He really doesn't have a whole lot of arm movement. That's about as far out as you can get the arm, and you can do the arm forward, but you can't really do the arm backwards unless you kind of lift the cape back. So the cape definitely limits some of that arm movement. He does have a bicep swivel there. He's got a single hinged elbow, so he can bend his elbow about that much. And then he's got swivels at the wrist and hinges on the hand, so he's got up and down movement with the fists. He does not have any midsection articulation, no waist swivel, and then the legs have those side hinges, so he can do the splits, though it does look pretty funny when he does the splits. And then you can get the leg forward pretty good. Really can't, I guess you can do the leg back about that much. And then he does have a thigh swivel. He's got a single hinge knee, so he can bend his knee about that much. And then he's got hinges on the feet, so up and down movement, and he does have some pivot and no peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Okay, so that's my review. So overall, I would say the sculpting detail and paint applications on this figure are very nice. Now for me personally, I can't say I'm a huge fan of this look for Batman, so this figure doesn't do much for me personally, but I think if you're a fan of Lee's artwork, then you'll definitely want to check this one out. The biggest downside to this figure is it does have a lack of articulation, so it's really one of those that you just sit on your shelf for looks, but not really made for posing. This figure, along with the Superman figure based on the same artist, are at comic and specialty shops. They've been out for a couple weeks. You can also pick them up at places like Big Bad Toy Store. Now, there were two other figures in this line solicited, Lex Luthor and Green Lantern figures. I don't know exactly what the status is on those. It looks like they might have been canceled since I don't see e-tailers currently having it listed for pre-order, and I believe they were originally listed for release in last month. But again, I don't know exactly what the status on those two figures are. We'll have a full image gallery up at toynewseye.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. Also, if you haven't already, please follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I'll have links to those in the video description below. And until next time, I'll catch you later.